Welcome, friends, to my channel. My name is Vern Houle. I'll be your host as you venture in on the channel. What you'll find on this channel is the opportunity for you to learn how to go off grid and how to supply your own power, how to grow your own food, and how to live very cheaply and how to live as much off the land as you can. So on this channel, you'll find that we have videos on putting in solar systems. I'm a little bit of a technician. I've been in the technical industry for most of my life. And in 2016, I started studying solar energy and I got certified in the solar business. And you'll see on this channel some of my little solar experiments. Now, what we've recently done is we've sold our farm, and so we're going to move completely off grid, where there's no power, no natural gas, no hookups. And we're going to videotape all of this so you can see everything on this channel. Why? This is one of the biggest growing concerns right now in the world, is our environment. So the more that you and I can learn on how to survive without the amenities of power and all the amenities that we normally get, how can we survive? How can we live? So if there's a heat wave and all the power's cut off, what do? Do you stay there in the dark? No. For a little bit of investment, you can set yourself up an emergency system right in your home with solar. And we're going to show you how. First of all, let's take a look at what's going on in the world. This report is only 4 hours old. This is cutting news. I'm going to play it for you here, the whole thing.
A new UN climate report details humanity's impact on global warming, and it repeats a dire warning we've heard before. Act now or face irreversible consequences. Joining me from London is the CBC's Abby Kwadasan. She's been looking into this report. What are some of the key points here?
Arthi, several years of research, nearly 100 scientists worked on this report. It's about 1,000 pages long. And the main message, as you said, is act now to ensure a livable future on this planet. The report says that every region in the world is projected to face some sort of spike in climate hazards. It also says limiting global warming to that 1.5 degrees Celsius target that about 200 countries agreed to back in the 2015 climate conference in Paris may no longer be possible, because this report now says to achieve that target, the world needs to slash emissions by 60% by 2035. And as of right now, we know that most G20 governments are not on track to meet their Paris targets. Now, the IPCC also says reductions this decade will determine whether we not only just surpass that 1.5 target, whether we move into the 2 degrees Celsius mark, which would mean, as experts have previously said, that an additional 420 million people will be exposed to extreme heat. I spoke to a climate expert a short while ago, and he said this IPCC report is the gravest one that he's read. Let's have a listen.
The language in this report is far more grave. It's about the fact that we are now seeing multiple worrying signals from climate change, and we're not dealing with the problem fast enough. We're now at about 1.1 degrees Celsius above these pre-industrial levels, yet there is a clear signal that this warming is causing an increase in the frequency and intensity of a number of really harmful impacts: heat waves, floods, and droughts.
Now, experts, of course, have pointed out that we've already seen some of these heat waves and floods. This past summer here in the UK and across Europe, there were unprecedented heat waves. There was flooding too last year in Pakistan. 1/3 of that country was submerged underwater. Nearly 8 million people were displaced. And the report also points at the fact that those who don't emit as much greenhouse emissions in the developing world are the ones that are facing the dire consequences as of right now. But again, the main message being act now, Arthi.
And Abby, we've been hearing warnings from scientists for years. We were talking about that right off the top. Is it too late for action to improve the situation?
The report says there is a glimmer of hope, despite the fact that we can never go back to the way things were. There is a possibility of changing things and reducing emissions to the point that the future generations have a livable planet, that there is a window of opportunity to avoid disaster. The report that says that some future changes are simply unavoidable, but they can be limited with major reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. And we heard from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who called on developed nations in particular to make those cuts as soon as possible, Arthi.
Thanks for this, Abby. That is Abby Kuwadasan in London.
So as we can see, folks, there's a real problem out there with the climate changing and what's happening. Now, the real question is, what does the Bible say? And what does JW.org really say about all this? So I went to JW.org right here, and I went down. You can look at all. I just plugged in climate change right at the top, and all that comes down is a bunch of articles dealing with climate change. This one here, not much. It says the climate disaster is here. Earth is already becoming unlivable. The Guardian, it's quoting from the Guardian. Mankind faces a crisis all in its own making. Most scientists agree that human activity is responsible for the global warming. And the rise in temperature has already changed the climate and brought disastrous consequences. So JW.org recognizes it, but they don't do nothing about it. And this is the problem on Earth right now. If we're all waiting around for the end to come and for God to come up with a solution, well, we might be waiting a long time, and we might find out that we're making the wrong choice. Now, I'm going to show you why I believe you're making the wrong choice if you're waiting around. Waiting for God, waiting for Jehovah. And this is what the Jehovah's Witnesses teach. They wait for Jehovah because it's all about man. And I'm going to show you here how they deflect this. Now, if you go to Revelation of John, chapter 11, this is from the JW Bible, and verse 18, it says, "But the nations became wrathful, and your own wrath came, and the appointed time came for the dead to be judged and rewarded. Your slaves, the prophets, and the holy ones, and those fearing your name, the small and the great, and to bring to ruin those ruining the earth." So that's what's happening here. God says, this says in John, or in Revelation here, that God is going to bring to ruin those ruining the earth. Now, if we go to the little W here, and it gives you the extra scriptures, the only scripture that the Jehovah's Witness Bible gives as a reference is Genesis 6 and 11. And it says there, "But the earth has become ruined in the sight of the true God, and the earth was filled with violence." So it's not that the earth was ruined, it's that, you see that, it's a bad cross reference right there. And in my opinion, the Jehovah's Witnesses are sidestepping what the Bible is really saying here, to bring to ruin those ruining the earth. Now let's take a look at this a little closer. What have Jehovah's Witnesses done with deforestation? All the magazines that are printed, the millions and millions of copies for the last 150 years, Jehovah's Witnesses have not planted one single tree. And that is a shame. The governing body has to be ashamed of themselves. They've deforested the earth in a horrendous manner. And we've ran other videos on this where the watchtower doesn't care. They bury their ink in their fields, their toxic chemicals. And this is what we're dealing with. God says, Jehovah says, he's going to bring to ruin those ruining the earth. And then they bring back this going out in the ministry again. Vehicles and air pollution and human health. Cars and trucks are one of the leading causes of air pollution, but cleaner vehicles can help. So Jehovah's Witnesses don't care. They're out there with their vehicles, starting them every day, going out in the ministry and contributing to the problem that we have on this earth. And they don't care. They don't care. Jehovah's, the organization, the faithful slave, if you want to call them that, the governing body, they don't care. But I'm telling you, folks, you should care, because God says he's going to bring to ruin those ruining the earth. Now is the time to quit going to the meetings, quit going out in the ministry, stop everything, and start thinking about what we are doing to damage the earth. Can we use more greener energy? Can we just leave our vehicles shut off at home and spend more time at home? Or walk? You see, Jehovah's Witnesses are always starting vehicles. I used to spend $1,000 a month, some months, just on gasoline, doing all the unassigned and country territories for the Jehovah's Witnesses. It is expensive to run around with your vehicles. And if we go to JW.org, they don't care. They just don't care. They say it's not their problem. Man, you see, they blame everything on Satan. Satan has wrecked the earth. But here we have evidence, irrefutable evidence, that Jehovah's Witnesses, their organization, is causing a massive amount of deforestation. And then the pollution, a massive amount of pollution. 8.5 million people running all over the earth, calling on every household in the earth. A massive amount of pollution. So folks, what I'm asking you to do, if you want to know more about green energy and how to install solar and things like that, come to my channel. I have another channel called EXJW Unplugged, and you guys can hop over there. That channel is all about green energy, installing solar, living off grid, and how to do it. So folks, I invite you over there. Until next time, keep living your life with love. Bye for now.